Now You Hear Us is a podcast that shares the voices of young people who have experienced displacement. From refugee camps to host communities, we'll be sharing our views, insight, and thoughts on displacement, migration, politics, mental health, identity, friendship, art, and love. Some content discussed in our show may include references to traumatic experiences, including war, violence, abuse, sexism, and mental health issues including depression and anxiety. Hello, Now You Hear Us listeners. I hope this finds you well as we embark on this new year. I'm Pavie, your host, and we're so happy to welcome you back. This episode is short and sweet. Today, you'll only hear from Hadaya and myself, as we share a bit our thoughts on education, access to education, and in Hadaya's case, her own personal experience trying to attend school as a young woman who has been forced to leave her country. Of the 79.5 million forcibly displaced persons worldwide, an estimated 34 million are children below the age of 18. Imagine how many of these young people have had to abandon their studies. We want to invite you to consider how difficult it is to access an education while on the move. Factoring in learning new languages, cultures, dealing with trauma, family traditions, asylum procedures, there are so many barriers. As always, we invite you to listen, contemplate, and share our words and conversations so that more people understand the complexities behind forced migration.
Hello everyone, Hadaya here. Today I am going to talk about my life and my education. As you all know, I am from Syria. As a Syrian girl, it is very difficult to have the opportunity to study because, as you all know, the war in Syria has become worse and no one who lives there has the opportunity to study. I started school when I was 6 years old in Syria and I attended through 4th grade there. But then in 2011, the war started and my family began to think, what if we go to another country to live in safely? Because the war is going to start. That's why my family traveled to Iraq, so I couldn't have the opportunity to study. In Iraq, I didn't have the opportunity to study very quickly. In the first year I went to Iraq in 2011. Even I thought I really wanted to study and go to school. I first had to complete class tests and register my name. At this time in 2011, a lot of Syrian people were coming over the border into Iraq. And the country was full of people. So if you wanted to register your name for a school, it would take nearly 1 year before you could attend school. So in 2012, after waiting for 1 year, I was finally able to go back to school, completing my fourth through eighth grade there. So I studied in Iraq for 4 years. But then the situation in Iraq became worse. My father didn't have the opportunity to work or find a good job. It was very difficult because Iraq was full of people. And that is why my family decided to travel to Greece. We left for Greece in 2017. My whole family traveled together. Greece was full of people, and you couldn't get into any school very fast. You had to register your name and wait almost 6 or 7 months or even 1 year. So I registered my name again in Greece for a school. And I waited for 1 year before I had the opportunity to study again. I waited from 2017 until 2018, but in Greece, the problem was I would have to learn the Greek language before I could attend school. So I said, okay, no problem. I'll try my best to study Greek. Of course, I said this because I wanted to begin school again. I had left Syria and then Iraq, and I had the feeling that I had only a small opportunity to study and learn. I thought, why wouldn't I try to go to school again? If I try my best to learn Greek, to study English. So after waiting for this 1 year, I started learning the language. It is very difficult language. It is not like English or other language in Syria or even in Europe. Even though it's a European language. However, I began to learn it and speak it well enough that I could attend school. Just I was beginning school in Greece, my family decided that we wanted to travel to Germany. I had to stop school, but then the situation wasn't good in Greece. I mean, my brothers couldn't even attend school. I had this very small opportunity because I had learned the Greek. But I knew even so, if I can go to school in Greece but my brothers cannot, then we must leave. That's why my family decided to travel to Germany. In Germany, I went into the 8th grade, then in the 9th grade, and now I'm in the 10th grade, and I'm so happy that I finally have the opportunity to study. And I wanted to be a doctor one day, a surgeon. I would try my best to complete this. I know a lot of people who still live in camps or even now, they feel like they will never have an opportunity to study because after the situation they are in. I want to tell everyone listening to not give up. Never give up. Life has a lot of miraculous situations change. Keep trying, and one day you might you might have the opportunity to study like me. So thank you for listening to me.
Inequality. This is the word that comes to my mind when I think of education. I think of the fact that we live in a world where protesting the violations of human rights is in itself considered a violation. But education, this is the right of every child to have the opportunity to study, isn't it? If you answered yes, I have to say, well, this is not the case. In today's world, education is an opportunity that some children will have. But what about the rest? This opportunity has been taken away from so many children, especially those from war-torn countries. So my question is there an end? When will this issue be resolved? How many more generations of us humans must miss out on this opportunity, this human right? I do not think any of us can imagine seeing our child's future and knowing that he or she will never get an education. In my opinion, we should not allow any religion or culture or country to threaten the future of millions of people. I believe that too many people just sit by and allow this. Education is the right of every human being, all of us, not just some of us. Thank you for joining us today and for taking the time to listen and to hear us. Now You Hear Us is made with the support of Amplifying Sanctuary Voices, a community-based oral history project centering the stories of Bay Area residents who have come to the US seeking sanctuary. Check them out by clicking on the link below. The photo used for this episode was taken by Asifa. Editing and production of this podcast was done by both the co-founder of Youth UnMuted, Daphne Morgan, and a new addition to the team, Tara Acharya.